Well, I think Cynthia is as generous as she is because it's just her nature. She's a loving, dear person and has the ability to be as generous as her soul tells her to be. And she generally does it.
She has this wonderful way of spotting the interconnectivity between the arts and the humanities and the human services, what it is to live and thrive on Bainbridge Island. And all of us are better for her contributions.
Just one of the many pieces is the fact that she created Yonder, which is a beautiful little miniature museum that has become a retreat facility for nonprofits who can't afford to rent spaces to have board governance or board retreats.
Cynthia's input and ideas in the early days of the foundation was very much appreciated and helpful in getting us going. 2005 was the first community grant cycle for the foundation. But before we could do that, we had to put together all the policies and procedures. Cynthia brought the great perspective of being a donor to the group. So when we went through all these details, we thought about it from that perspective as well.
I know that Cynthia was a teacher before we knew her, and because of that, education is critical in many of the things she does. Everything that she's doing, she's thinking about how we're going to educate, how we're going to bring people into the fold, into a learning process to enrich their lives. She was an early supporter of the Craft in America, the PBS series. It showcases artists all over the country. And some of the interests of hers as of late are Barn. The fact that they're involved with book arts is a passion of hers. These are the little things that you really don't know about Cynthia. Her work and involvement in so many things, yet she does it quietly with grace and passion and love.
In 1998, I worked with her for a little while only to create the model that the MacArthur Foundation was using so that she might replicate that for the Island Treasure Award. It's a group of people who've decided, yes, this is where we want this to go. And recognizing there are a group of people that individual did not realize was watching them so carefully and thinking, what you are doing is extraordinary.
A lot of us have watched her recognize and support many artists who haven't had the opportunity to become publicly acknowledged and to become a part of an exhibit that is a gallery that's willing to take them on. And I believe that Cynthia has made a difference in hundreds, if not thousands, of local artists here in our community and in our region and made their lives better.
Oh, and so many levels. Cynthia's involvement in the arts is meaningful to the artists who benefit from her generosity because it allows them to create, to continue creating, and that's the important thing to Cynthia.
Being an artist isn't always an easy job in terms of being able to earn a living and support oneself in this world, and at the same time, the art that is being produced is so important.
Arts is critical. It is what enriches us. It's what shows us beauty. It's what really gets us through day by day.
Cynthia had the great vision to make the Bainbridge Island Art Museum free to the public, and having grown up in a family who never went to art museums, it was mostly because we didn't have the money and we couldn't afford to go to art museums. So as an adult now who has the money to go and could pay, I think it's really exciting to see the families who might not be able to have that experience like myself growing up and who can start to develop an appreciation.
Cynthia doesn't really jump into anything. She's been doing it all the time, whether she was on this island or whether she was at base camp on Everest. She would be searching out creative people to support and encourage. When she got to the island, it was just a natural thing for her to go after and find the creative people, the artists around.
It's almost like she's a superhero. In her daily life, she's just a regular person. But when she sees a need, she steps in and helps out. And by doing so, she reminds us that we too can be superheroes.
Many of us want to kind of emulate and be as gracious and giving and unassuming as she. So it just inspires us to do the same.
By her example.
By her example.
She understands that giving her time can be just as empowering and supportive as giving or writing a check. And everyone in our community can make a difference, and whether that's that they can volunteer or they can write a check, Cynthia really understands that both of those areas are a way to give back.
To be in love, as Cynthia is with Frank, and Frank with Cynthia, often is the catalyst to do good work, to give you the energy and the sense of creating something together. And it helps to have that person on your side.
He's her anchor, you know, her partner and her companion in all this, and he encourages every activity that she enters that way.
She understands how important it is to have friends and to have others join in and to support the things she's done. And she lives in gratitude every day for those friends and for the community that gathers behind her beautiful giving.
4 thoughts I had today.
That the eye can only see itself in a mirror.
That flying on small planes is not that bad.
That it only takes one spark to start a forest fire.
And that sometimes the difference between success or failure depends on whether we get or give a little encouragement.